Welcome, everyone. Today we're exploring social inequality from past to present, how it began, how it evolved, and why it persists. We'll also look at what we can do about it now. It's a big topic, but by the end, we hope you'll see how these ideas connect to real-world actions and policy solutions.
Exactly. Let's start by looking at the historical evolution of inequality, beginning with ancient caste systems in places like India and feudal hierarchies across different continents. As society shifted into industrial capitalism, we saw a new focus on controlling the means of production rather than just land. Thinkers like Rousseau, Marx, and Weber tackled the why of inequality in distinct ways. Rousseau hoped for a system where any inequality would reflect genuine differences in skill and effort. Marx viewed inequality as a product of capitalist exploitation, with the bourgeoisie exploiting the proletariat. Weber expanded the conversation by examining status and political power as sources of inequality, not just wealth. Fast forward to modern sociology. We have four major frameworks. First, functionalism. It argues inequality can motivate people to fill critical societal roles. The critique, though, is that it often overlooks systemic barriers and inherited privilege, meaning society isn't always a level playing field. Second, conflict theory. This draws heavily from Marx, focusing on power struggles between dominant and subordinate groups. It highlights that power is multi-layered. It's about money, yes, but also about who makes the rules and who controls the narrative. Third, symbolic interactionism. This framework zooms in on labels and day-to-day interactions. Even seemingly small words or stereotypes can reinforce inequality. Deviant labels, for example, can become self-fulfilling prophecies, shutting people out of opportunities. Fourth, feminist and intersectional theories. These explore how patriarchy sustains gender inequality. Intersectionality, coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, shows how categories like race, gender, and class overlap to create unique forms of disadvantage.
Now let's talk about how these theories explain modern problems. We have neoliberalism, promoting free markets and minimal government intervention. Critics argue it accelerated wealth gaps, especially visible after the 2008 financial crisis and during the pandemic. Technological inequality. Some people can access high-speed internet, digital literacy programs, and the latest devices. Others can't, widening the digital divide.
Exactly. Recent research notes that post-pandemic data shows the richest 1% captured nearly two-thirds of all new global wealth. That's staggering, and it underscores the need to investigate progressive taxation proposals and restrict tax loopholes to tackle this escalating wealth concentration.
I also think about remote work. It's great for some, but not everyone can benefit. People in jobs that require a physical presence, often lower-paying roles, can't work remotely. This creates two distinct worlds, one thriving on remote opportunities and one left behind. And then there's climate change, often called a threat multiplier. Communities already vulnerable face the harshest consequences: extreme weather, resource shortages, and displacement. That's where social justice intersects with environmental policy.
Right. We see a push for environmental justice policies that focus on the disproportionate impacts of climate change. The conversation suggests researching how governments can hold corporations accountable for environmental damage and ensure marginalized communities receive the support they need. So, what can we actually do? First, Canadian policy models, equity legislation, and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms are highlighted as frameworks to dismantle systemic barriers. Investigating these in depth can inspire broader policy reforms elsewhere. Second, education and John Porter's work. John Porter, a Canadian sociologist, advocated for accessible higher education to break cycles of poverty. That might mean scholarships, affordable tuition, or support for first-generation college students. Third, digital literacy programs. We have to address the digital divide. Programs that improve broadband access and offer training can help level the playing field. Fourth, climate-related social justice initiatives. Look at how climate policies can reinforce or reduce inequalities. Study resilience efforts, green economy transitions, and community-based climate solutions. Fifth, remote work inequality. Determine how best to support essential workers who cannot work remotely through fair wages, benefits, and policy protections. Sixth, progressive taxation. Many economists advocate closing tax loopholes and introducing tax brackets that ask more of the ultra-wealthy. This helps redistribute resources and fund public services.
Despite the scale of these challenges, wealth concentration, remote work gaps, technological divides, climate injustice, there's still reason for hope. We do have policy tools, grassroots movements, and academic research to guide us.
And that's our call to action for you. What can you do with this knowledge? Will you advocate for better digital access, support progressive taxation, or invest time in grassroots environmental justice? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks for diving into this topic with us. Remember, understanding inequality is the first step. The real change begins when we turn that knowledge into action. Stay curious, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.